Most people use AI like a bunch of separate apps. They open one tool for ideas, another tool for writing, another tool for notes, another tool for scheduling, and after a week, they've built a stack that feels like a second job. Too many logins, too many tabs, too many half finished systems. It's the same mistake every time. They're stacking tools, not stacking outcomes. The combo that actually works is way simpler, and it's the one nobody explains because it sounds almost too basic. You only need three roles in your stack. You need a brain, a clipboard, and a factory. That's it. Something to think, something to store, and something to ship. Here's the punchline up front. Your best stack is not the fanciest stack. It's the one that reduces decisions, the one that turns messy thoughts into clean steps, turns clean steps into a draft, and turns that draft into something posted, sent, or scheduled without you getting stuck in the middle. So I'm going to walk you through my simple stack and the exact way I run it, not in a complicated, here are 12 tools way, in a do this in this order and your brain stops fighting you way. And if you don't want to buy anything, this still works because the structure matters more than the brand name. Role one is your brain. This is the AI you talk to. It's where you dump chaos, ask questions, and force clarity. The brain's job is not to be correct about the universe. The brain's job is to make your next step obvious. If your AI isn't making your next step obvious, you're prompting wrong or you're asking for the wrong output. Role two is your clipboard. This is where the work lives, not where the work is created, where it is captured. A note app, a doc, a single folder, a single place you trust. The clipboard's job is to remove the where did I put that tax and the I'll remember it later lie. If you lose time refinding your own stuff, your stack is broken. Role three is your factory. This is whatever turns the draft into output. It can be your editor, your posting tool, your scheduler, your email send. The factory's job is to ship. Shipping is a separate skill, and most people treat it like an afterthought, then wonder why they have great drafts that never leave their hard drive. That's the stack. Brain, clipboard, factory. Now I'll show you the flow that makes it simple instead of annoying. The flow starts with a rule. Never start inside the factory. Most people start in the factory. They open the editor, stare at the empty timeline, and their brain goes, ugh, and then they bounce. The right move is to start in the brain because the brain turns fog into a first draft. And when you have a first draft, the factory becomes mechanical instead of emotional. So step one is a 2-minute brain dump, not journaling. A dump. You paste what you're trying to do and what's in your way. Then you force the brain to ask you questions before it answers. That single move prevents the confident nonsense problem, and it cuts down the back and forth. Here's the prompt shape I use, and I keep it as a one paragraph so it reads naturally, and I can paste it fast. I'll say, I'm trying to create or decide something today. Here's the messy version. Paste. Here are my constraints: time, platform, audience, length. Ask me 3 clarifying questions first. After I answer, give me the clearest next step and a rough draft in the format I need. That's the entire brain job. Clarify, then draft. If you're asking the brain for 10 options, you're accidentally paying for procrastination. If you ask it for one best next step and one rough draft, you get momentum. Step 2 is where the clipboard becomes the secret weapon. People think the clipboard is boring, so they skip it. They keep everything inside chat windows. Then 2 days later, they can't find the good version. They repeat the work, and they start believing, AI doesn't save time. It does save time. You're just not storing the wins. So the rule is, every time the brain gives you something usable, it immediately goes to the clipboard. That can be one doc called daily drafts, one folder, one place. I like one simple file per project, but you can do it however you want. The key is you're building a personal library of patterns that already work for you. Now here's the part that's going to make your output jump without adding tools. You store not just the draft, you store the template that made the draft, because the template is the leverage. The template is what makes AI consistent. So after you get a draft you like, you ask one follow-up in the brain, turn this into a reusable template with placeholders so I can paste it next time. Then you paste that template into the clipboard right under the draft. Now you're not starting from scratch tomorrow, you're starting from your best self on a good day. Step 3 is where most stacks fall apart. Hand off to the factory, because this is where friction lives. Editing, formatting, uploading, scheduling. Your brain stops wanting to do it because it feels like chores, so you design the handoff to be brainless. Here's how you do that. Before you ever open the factory, you ask the brain to output in factory-ready shape. That means you don't ask for a great script, you ask for a script that fits how you actually produce. You don't ask for a good caption, you ask for a caption that matches your platform limits and tone. The shape is the difference between shipping and stalling. For example, if you make videos, you want your draft to be spoken, not written. So you tell the brain, write it like someone talking, use natural contractions, vary sentence length, no corporate tone. If you're posting, you tell it to keep lines tight and mobile readable. If you're sending sales messages, you tell it to keep it short, direct, and specific. Then, and this matters, you give the factory one job at a time. If you try to make the factory do everything in one sitting, you'll hate your life. So the handoff is open factory, paste draft, produce the first output, done. If you want a batch later, fine. But your daily system ships one thing. Here's what it looks like on a normal day. You start in the brain, answer 3 questions, and get one best next step plus a rough draft. You paste the draft and the reusable template into your clipboard. Then you open the factory, paste, and ship. And if you're thinking, okay, but what tools are those? Here's the honest answer. Your brain can be any AI chat tool you like. Your clipboard can be any notes app or doc system you actually use. Your factory can be any editor or posting tool that ends with something published. The brand names don't matter. The roles in the flow do. Now, the reason nobody explains this combo is because it's not flashy. It's not 10 agents working while you sleep. It's a small loop you can actually maintain. And the small loop beats the giant fantasy stack every single time. 2 mistakes will break this stack fast, so catch them early. The first mistake is letting the brain become your clipboard. If your drafts live inside chat history, you will lose them. You will recreate them. You will forget what worked. Treat chat like a whiteboard, not a filing cabinet. The second mistake is letting the factory become your brain. If you open the editor first, you're forcing yourself to create under pressure with no structure. That's how you end up scrolling, tweaking, and abandoning. Brain first, clipboard second, factory last. That order's the whole trick. Now, if you want to make the stack feel even more automatic without adding complexity, here's the move. Create one single. Stack starter. Prompt you reuse every time. 1 paragraph. Same shape. It pulls the whole loop together. It goes like this. I'm running my simple stack. Here's what I'm trying to ship. Goal. Here's what I already have. Notes. Here are my constraints. Platform, time, tone. Ask me 3 clarifying questions first. After I answer, give me one best next step, then write a rough draft in a voice that sounds human, then give me a factory-ready version I can paste directly into my workflow, plus a short, reusable template with placeholders. That prompt creates the handoff. It forces clarity, forces draft, forces format, forces reuse. It's not a magic prompt. It's a system prompt. And the last piece, the part that makes this stack actually simple, is the one rule most people ignore. You keep the output to one screen at a time. If the brain gives you a novel, it didn't help you. It gave you homework, clamp it down, tell it to keep it tight, tell it to give you the next step only. The goal is action, not content. If you try this stack for a week, here's what you'll notice. You'll stop collecting tools, you'll stop chasing new prompts, you'll stop building systems you never use, you'll start shipping more because the work starts with clarity and ends with output. So if you're overwhelmed by AI tools, stop shopping and start stacking roles. Brain, Clipboard, Factory, run the loop. Save what works. Ship one thing. Repeat. If you try it for a week, you'll feel the difference.